Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great. So today's video is about the 10 fragrances that you can wear for the rainy season. And all of the fragrances mentioned in the list are budget fragrances, so you can get them for a very good price. You don't have to break your bank and pay high prices. So usually for the rainy season, I prefer to wear fragrances that have the notes of vetiver and patchouli. So, and these two notes in fragrances are not a mass appealing fragrance note like, for example, vanilla, amber, rose. So it's kind of a like a niche fragrance note. Some people may not like these notes because I have heard some of the guys who don't like patchouli and vetiver. But it's a personal taste. I prefer these notes, particularly in the monsoon season. So those of who are not familiar, vetiver smells like grass and patchouli smells like soil. So you must be familiar with the smell of the wet soil that comes when it rains. So I just love that smell. And so I have carefully selected these 10 fragrances that I personally enjoy during the monsoon season. So there is one honorable mention because I don't have that fragrance bottle with me at the moment. It's in India, and that fragrance is from the house of Hermes. It's Terre de Hermes. So that's a very popular fragrance for men. Like it smells like a dirty orange, like orange mixed with vetiver. So those of you who have been familiar with the Terre de Hermes, they know how it smells. It's a very a unique kind of fragrance, a unique designer fragrance. There aren't much fragrance that smells like a Terre de Hermes, and it's one of the classic fragrances for a good reason. So that would be my honorable mention, and I mostly prefer the perfume version more than the EDT. I feel the perfume is the more complex one. So let's start with the top 10. Number 10 is it's not highly spoken about in the fragrance community. It got a good amount of hype when it was released. I think Jeremy Fragrance was the one who hyped it up. He used to feature in most of his videos. It's a good scent. It's a good coffee scent mixed with some booziness, with some sweetness. It's from the house of, I think it's from Halloween Man. It's the Halloween Man X. So this is a budget fragrance. You can get it for like $30. And to me, this reminds of if you have smelled the fragrance from Salvatore Ferragamo, the tiramisu, that fragrance, Ferragamo Uomo. So it's kind of like a similar fragrance, but with the added notes of coffee and whiskey. So it's like a very nice boozy coffee fragrance with tonka sweetness. It's a very likable fragrance, nothing complex about it, and a good budget fragrance for the coffee lovers. So if you love coffee, you can check out this fragrance. You can get it for like a very good budget. It's a very nice one. Also a slight resemblance to Versace Eros, not too much, but the sweetness kind of gives you that vibe. So coffee, booze, that's the vibe that you get from this fragrance. Halloween Man X, a good one, a good bang for buck for the rainy season. Okay, so coming to number 9, it's also a lesser known fragrance. I love this fragrance house because the original Issey Miyake. It was one of my favorite fragrances back in those times, like my college times. And then the fragrance got reformulated and got weaker in performance, so I stopped purchasing the bottles. But this fragrance is like a nighttime version of the Issey Miyake. It's Nuit. So this one is created by Dominic Ropion. He's a famous perfumer, and this has notes of both vetiver and patchouli. So this is like a fresh scent, a fresh citrus scent with darkness. It's a very unique combination because this has incense notes. So even when you smell from the nozzle, you get that incense note straight from the nozzle. Citrus, incense, vetiver, patchouli, woody notes. It's a very complex fragrance. It can easily be a niche level juice in a designer bottle. It's an amazing scent, but Don't expect to be like a sweet fresh kind of fragrance. This doesn't have much of a sweetness. It has like a lot of citrus in the opening, then it goes in the darker direction. So if you like incense, like the idea of incense mixed with citrus notes, you can give this a try. And it has a good vetiver in the dry down mixed with patchouli, although the patchouli is not too heavy and not too prominent because some people are scared of patchouli note. But this is an amazing like amalgamation of all those notes done to perfection. This is Nuit Issey from Issey Miyake, and this is the eau de toilette version. The perfume version is also really good. So I prefer the EDT version for the rainy season. It's really good. So coming to number 8, I have mentioned this fragrance in the underrated fragrance video. It's a good spicy fragrance. It's not spice bomb. It's from Costume National. It's a Costume National home. So I have mentioned that this fragrance is a clove bomb, clove, cinnamon, all the spices. I mentioned that it smells like a spice bazaar. So that's the feeling. So if you are in the mood for a spicy fragrance for the monsoon, you can go with Costume National home. It's also a budget fragrance. Like all the fragrances in this video are budget fragrances. You don't have to pay a huge amount. So this is also a solid recommendation for the rainy season. Okay, and the next one, number 7. Yep. So this is from the house of Versace. And you know the house of Versace makes really good fragrances at an affordable budget. So this is one of the oldies from Versace. It has been around for long. Yeah, I think this was created in 90s. And this is a tobacco fragrance, but a really different tobacco fragrance. The Dreamer. I love the concept, the name. The name is fantastic for a fragrance, Versace the Dreamer. So this is kind of a floral tobacco fragrance. So, and this gives the vibe of, you can compare it to Amouage Reflection Man and Jean Paul Gaultier La Malle. So have slight similarity to those fragrances, but it's very unique. Like for designer fragrance, the smell is a bit of an old school fragrance mixed with some modern elements with tobacco, floral notes, and this has good iris note in the fragrance. It has a bit of a green vibe as well. So you have to love old school fragrances to truly appreciate Versace Dreamer. It's one of my favorite cheapy fragrances. So if you want a tobacco fragrance that doesn't lean too heavy, and it's very light and airy kind of fragrance, but very unique. So check this out, Versace Dreamer. It's one of my favorite for the monsoon. Then number 5. No, number 6 actually. Sorry. So this is the only clone fragrance in this list, and it's the clone of one of the expensive fragrances from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. It's not Baccarat Rouge. It's a rose fragrance. So the fragrance I'm mentioning is Oud Satin from Ministry of Oud. So this is from the house of Paris Corner, and it's a clone of Oud Satin Mood. So if you're familiar with the Oud Satin Mood, it's a very jammy rose and oud combination. The oud is not too prominent, but this smells like a typical Middle Eastern fragrance with that rose and oud combo. So if you're sometimes I crave for wearing fragrances that gives me that jammy rose smell, and sometimes I don't like the jammy rose smell. So whenever I'm in mood to, I crave for that smell, that jammy rose and oud combo. And some people in India might say this gives them the vibe of Gulkand, that kind of a smell. Yeah. Some say it's pan masala. So a lot of comparisons are there. But it's very nice. It has that incense note like rose, oud and incense mix. Really good fragrance, and smells really close to Oud Satin Mood. So for that fragrance, is very expensive, $200-300 fragrance. This you can get it for like $20 to $30, and it has the same smell. That there is nothing rough about this fragrance. It's not like harsh or any chemical smell. It's blended very smoothly, and you will be surprised when you sniff this fragrance. The quality is amazing. Wow, this is nice. For the budget, no issues. Great fragrance for monsoon if you are craving for a jammy rose and oud fragrance. Okay, the next one is a tobacco fragrance, tobacco honey, and this is like a nuclear fragrance, and it's very strong, and you can smell the honey in your face. I haven't smelled any other, like in Naxos the honey is blended very smoothly, but in this fragrance it's like you can smell that honey in your face. That's how strong the honey note in this fragrance is. It's also a lesser spoken house from the house of Scentstory. This is 24 Elixir. So you must be familiar with the original 24 Gold, which is the oud and vanilla fragrance that has been very popular, but this fragrance kind of flies under the radar. Not too much talks about this fragrance in the community, but this is an amazing honey tobacco fragrance, and you can smell those two notes very prominently, the honey, the tobacco. That's the main notes you get from this fragrance, and it's very strong, ultra strong fragrance. You don't need much sprays, and this can easily like this is perfect for winter as well, and for monsoon also this is amazing, but you don't have to go heavy. It's a super loud fragrance, and it's one of my favorite for the monsoon. So check out 24 Elixir from Scentstory. This also you can get it for a good budget. And now the next fragrance, number 4. Yeah, and so if you're craving for an old school fragrance for the monsoon, this is one of the best, and it's from Guerlain. So Guerlain is known for making timeless old school fragrances. You know, this is one of the classics from Guerlain, and it is Habit Rouge. So this has like a complex breakdown of notes, starting from like citrus, it has vanilla, it has rose, jasmine. It's like a fougere fragrance, but it has got a very good sweetness to it. It's not like a green barbershop kind of fragrance. It has very nice citrus note mixed with the sweetness and with that old school elements. So if you're familiar with Guerlain's Shalimar, that's a very popular fragrance, like old school fragrance for women. This is like a male counterpart of Shalimar. Wow. But you have to like old school fragrances. Do not blind by this. It's a classic fragrance for people above 30. So not for the young people. It's an amazing fragrance, blended to perfection, and one of my all-time favorites from Guerlain. This one and Heritage. Heritage is more like a patchouli fragrance. This is like a barbershop with some sweetness. Amazing one. Okay, so now only 3 fragrances, top 3. So number 3, I have mentioned it in many of my videos, created by Quentin Bisch, the master perfumer, and it has the vibes of Ganymede. So you must have guessed the fragrance by now. Kenzo Homme Edp. So this is the dark aquatic freshie with patchouli and leather and sea notes. These are the main 3 notes, but with only 3 notes that Quentin Bisch has created an amazing perfume. It smells like a forest, like by the sea, a deep dark forest. You get that sea notes. It's truly unique, amazing fragrance, but a very acquired taste. So people who like Versace Havas, sweet and fresh, do not go and blind by this. So I just have to warn you, this is also an acquired taste. Some people might really hate it, and people who love it, they just absolutely love it. So please try before you buy. So it's not a sweet fragrance, it's a very dark fragrance with patchouli and leathers, and there are like, I don't know like much fragrances, like fresh fragrances that has a leather note in it. So this is really unique combination, and Kenzo makes really unique fragrances. So Homme Edp is number 3. Okay, so number 2, this was my yesterday it was raining here in New York, and I picked this fragrance as my scent of the day. So you must have seen my post if you follow my YouTube page, and this is from the house of Rochas or Rochas, I don't know how to pronounce it, and it's called Mustache. So this is the alternative to YSL's Tuxedo. So if you're familiar with Tuxedo, it's one of the hyped fragrances, one of the most popular fragrances. It's not niche, but it's from the private line of YSL. So this is an amazing fragrance, guys. Like for the price they sell this for, like $30, and you can get like 125 ml. This is just 75 ml. You can get the big bottle for like 30 something dollars. I can't believe that. The quality, the blend is amazing. So the main notes I get with this fragrance, rose is the key player. So rose, vanilla, benzoin, and patchouli. And the patchouli is not in your face. And I feel that in the original tuxedo, the patchouli note is very strong. But this one is more smoother when compared to YSL's tuxedo. So if you want to get YSL tuxedo on a budget, go for Mustache from Rochas. And there are like lot of tuxedo clones from various brands like Maison Alhambra, the Tux. Then there is Suits from Fragrance World. I haven't tried those fragrance because I am very happy with my Rochas Moustache. Amazing fragrance for the price, bang for buck. And the performance is average. Don't expect a beast mode performance, but it still lasts for like 6 hours. So just go heavy with the sprays, because when you spray initially you will feel that it's very strong, but it becomes not a skin scent, but it dies down pretty quickly. So go with like 10 to 12 sprays. I overspray every fragrance, so I don't have a problem with the longevity. So I would advise you to go heavy for this one. It's a beautiful smell and amazing for the monsoon. Okay, so the number one is this is one of my favorites from the house of Lalique, and it's a vetiver fragrance, perfect for the rainy season. And it's from the house. Okay, this is Encre Noir. Encre Noir sport version. So Encre Noir, the original, is a very challenging fragrance for some people, and there are some people who just love that fragrance. So this is like a fresher version. They have added a nice grapefruit. There is a citrus blast in the opening, but mixed with darkness. So citrus and vetiver. Wow, this smells great. I love the packaging, the bottle, the green juice. So it gives that feeling of a vetiver fragrance, true vetiver fragrance. So this also doesn't have much sweetness, but a really unique fragrance, and it's the best fragrance to wear during the rainy season. So those of who feel the original to be very challenging, and they should check out the sport version. This is really good, like a sport version, so you get that freshness. You don't feel too dark or complex, but it's freshness mixed with darkness. Amazing one to wear in the rainy season. Amazing vetiver fragrance. I'm highly recommending it. So this is my number one for the rainy season. Okay, so all the fragrances mentioned are budget fragrances, so you can check it out. You don't have to pay huge amounts. So that's it guys, I'll be back with another video. Stay tuned.